Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Me again, Shannon Fox here on Devoted Patriots 2 channel. As if you didn't know, got a few things I wanted to bring to y'all today. A couple video clips, a little bit of information coming out, some more good stuff about these schemes that are going on with the Democrat Party, or have been for the longest, that are now being exposed and hopefully stopped permanently, so they don't have these cash cow options, coin purses full of opportunity to steal elections and import illegals and do all the things that the Democrat Party does, including propagandize 90% of the media. Big part of the whole situation as well. They like to lie to America at the taxpayers' expense. No doubt about it, folks. Got all kinds of clips here for you. I'm going to bring you a little bit from the great Mike Benz. He was on Joe Rogan's show. I do encourage everybody that likes to go down the rabbit hole of the problems that we have with the deep state involving all these agencies and the money and the Doge. Anybody that enjoys getting into that stuff, Mike Benz is the guy that has been screaming from the rooftops for about 5 or 6 years about USAID and several of these NGOs that are the problem with our country. He's even got some stories about Obama promoting NGOs in order to overthrow Cuba. And they do it with propaganda. They get in and they set up their own Twitter like type um, platform. Really happened during the Obama years. It was Twitter 1.0, believe it or not. But there are several things that the Obama administration did to overthrow governments and cause regime change. And they are doing it here in America. They were doing it here in America as well, trying to with this BLM movement, with the transgender movement, with so many things, just to try to divide the country. It's obvious now. Big part of the Cloward-Piven plan. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. It's basically the playbook of what they've been trying to do to our country for about 20 years, and they almost succeeded before Donald Trump came along and stepped back into the picture. Now, I was over on Truth Social today. I don't get on there too terribly much. I don't really like their format as much as I do Twitter or YouTube. But I got over there today just to follow up on some Trump stuff. And this is the first meme of the day that I found over there, and I think it's absolutely true. Nobody that voted for Trump is mad at Elon or Trump for getting to the bottom of stuff, fixing stuff, and coming at all these problems like a raging bull, because that's what it's going to take to fix our country. Now, like I said, I got several clips I want to bring to y'all. We'll get into it. I don't want to make this video too terribly long. I know everybody's got lives out there besides listening to podcasts. Now, this couldn't have happened to a nicer idiot. Um, just in, President Trump revoked Secret Service protection for disgraced former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This is the guy that told us the border was closed for 4 years and the fentanyl's not coming in, and he feels deeply for all the people that have been affected by the immigration problem, especially the immigrants. This guy's a sicko, but I'm glad to see Trump is just going down the line and revoking security clearances of anybody who did anything to destroy our country. This means the security detail would have run through for almost 4 more months had Trump not removed it. Biden had extended his children's detail for the same time as Mayorkas. Perhaps no Biden regime member was more responsible for the despicable open borders than Mayorkas. So Biden extended everybody's Secret Service detail. Secret Service protection was actually supposed to end in January, but he did a court-ordered 6-month extension. Well, Trump said canceled, got that out of there. Now this guy is no longer have the same security clearance. Maybe he won't be able to get him another job when they get done with him. Hopefully he'll be in jail before this is all over. That's my hope from Mayorkas. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but if anybody needs to go to jail, that guy needs to go to jail for lying to Americans each and every day. Well, for more than that, for allowing the human trafficking. That's what he needs to go to jail for, and the fentanyl, allowing it and lying about it. Now, there's a lot of people that I see on these clips and articles that are just too stupid. I don't know if they do it for clicks or they're just that big of morons and got caught. Sometimes these things are actually comical. This one here is a little bit sad because she tried so hard to make herself out to be the victim. says race hoaxer, city employee, and school board member in Pennsylvania faces charges after allegedly planting a noose on her own desk, and then she cried wolf about it, and her ass gonna go to jail. You watch. Check this out, folks.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Roque. I'm the Chief of Police of Allentown. I'm joined at the podium by Captain Steve Bilkovitz and Detective Harold Bonser of our Criminal Investigations Division. The purpose of this press conference is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. I want to take a moment to thank the following agencies who assisted in this case: Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews with persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, LaTarsha Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the second degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the third degree. As in every criminal case, the fact that a warrant has been issued or a complaint has been filed is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law.
Yeah.
I'm now going to ask Captain Milkovich to provide a summation of this investigation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Captain Milkovich, Criminal Investigations Division. On January 10, 2025, at approximately 7:11 a.m., Allentown City employee LaTarsha Brown arrived at her office on the third floor of City Hall. At approximately 7:38 a.m., Ms. Brown notified the Allentown Police Department that she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk upon arriving at work. Officers assigned to the Community Outreach Unit, Crime Scene Identification Unit, and Criminal Investigations Unit responded, initiating a criminal investigation to identify the individual responsible for placing the noose on Ms. Brown's desk. During the investigation, video surveillance and building access control records were reviewed to identify city employees present on the third floor of City Hall between the time Ms. Brown left for work on the afternoon of January 9, 2025, and her arrival on the morning of January 10th. Those employees were interviewed. Each was asked if they would provide a buccal swab for DNA testing if needed. Every employee agreed, except for Ms. Brown. Initially cooperative, Ms. Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued. The noose was submitted to the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab for DNA testing on January 14, 2025. On January 24, 2025, a search warrant was approved by the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office for Ms. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained that same day. On January 27, 2025, Ms. Brown's buccal swab was submitted to the Bethlehem Regional Crime Lab of the Pennsylvania State Police for comparison with DNA profiles recovered from the noose. On March 10, 2025, the Forensic DNA Division of the Pennsylvania State Police issued a written report indicating that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and inner knotted portion of the noose after it was taken apart. No other person's DNA profiles found on the evidentiary items involved in this investigation. As a result of this investigation earlier today, Detective Harold Bonds of the Allentown Police Department filed charges against LaTarsha Brown at District Court 31-2-01 for the criminal offenses outlined earlier by Chief Roca. Thank you.
Y'all need to give her a felony. She was trying to play the victim card. She's trying to incite violence with playing racism bullshit with the noose game. This is not the first time this has been done. They done it at the Capitol. It was done, I think it was Bubba Wallace at the NASCAR. They said somebody hung a noose there on his garage door, and he happened to be, I think, a black guy. Not positive. Don't follow NASCAR. But at any rate, this is not the first time we've had a hangman's noose hoax. So busted. People are so stupid. I hate to say this, folks, but people are so stupid. They don't realize there are cameras, and when you report a crime, there's sometimes going to be an investigation, which involves questions and real investigation, like looking at camera footage. asking other people the right question, uh, asking for DNA, finding out who's not cooperative. That's a dead giveaway for a lot of people. People are stupid. I hate to say it, folks, but we're living in a time where there is a lot of idiots, and it looks like a lot of them are Democrats these days. Just saying. Now, here's another stupid Democrat. This lady's name is Jasmine Crockett. I haven't played much of her videos because she's just another annoying Democrat. She's trying to be AOC 2.0 with her with her jazz hands and her screaming and her everything's racism. She plays the card very well. She's kind of like oh, what's that guy named? That race baiter guy. I forget. I'll remember it in a minute. But anyway, let me get into this. It says double down. Rep- Representative Jasmine Crockett issues a violent threat against Texas Senator Ted Cruz, ignoring Attorney General Pam Bondi's previous warning to her. Pam Bondi just warned her a couple of days ago to tread lightly over her talking crap about Tesla and inciting people to go after Elon Musk. As a matter of fact, let me bring up the words that she actually said. She's actually inciting people to tear up Tesla cars. It says as the Gateway Pundit reported, Crockett spoke last Wednesday on a live stream organized by Tesla Takedown, which is engaged in multiple actions designed to harm the company. These actions include recently protesting outside a manufacturing showroom, urging Americans to sell their Teslas and dump the company's stock. The group is scheduled to hold the biggest day of economic sabotage on March 29th. Supporters are slated to harass 277 Tesla locations in America and more than 500 overseas that day, March 29th. So please get ready. Get your handcuffs and your zip ties out. You may need them. 29th. They're going to let you know in advance. I'll be waiting on them. It says March 29th also happens to be Crockett's birthday, and she wants a sick wish to come true on that day. This is what actually started a lot of this controversy. Her mouth says, "I am truly here for selfish reason." Crockett says, starting with March 29th. It's my birthday, and all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, she says. On Sunday, Crockett sat down with NBC's Phil Prazon and Gromer Jeffers from the Dallas Morning News to discuss a variety of issues, including the Trump administration's policies, national issues affecting her district, and how Democrats can fight back against Trump. Yeah, she's a Trump hater. She's from my hometown of Dallas. That's so sad. Says, but when the topic turned out how Democrats can win statewide elections in Texas, Crockett responded with a call to violence against Senator Ted Cruz. Let's listen to what she has to say. It's her in the yellow banana dress.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. I think and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like this dude has to be knocked over the head like hard, right? Like there is no niceties with him. Like
She's talking about Colin Alfred or Alfred Collin. He was the black guy that ran against Ted Cruz here just recently and lost. Couldn't win. Beto O'Rourke couldn't win here in the state, and Colin Alred couldn't win either.
at all. Like you go clean off on him, right?
So she want to go clean off on Ted Cruz. Let's listen to that part again.
Like there is no niceties with him. Like at all. Like you go clean off on him, right?
So she talking about hurting somebody. She done been told by Pam Bondi she needs to watch her words and tread lightly. And she's been inciting violence on Tesla properties in an organized kind of way. This lady's going to find herself in jail if she ain't careful. She fixing to do the old FAFO. All right, folks, I got A couple more clips here I want to bring to y'all today. A little bit more reading. We'll get through this. It says just in, Barack Obama's former senior policy advisor, Raheem Shai, was sentenced to 11 and a half years in prison. He flew to Britain to grape a 9-year-old he was believed he was communicating with. It was a sting by the police. In his luggage was cuddle toys and protection. That is so sad. I'm glad they caught his ass. 11 and a half years, that ain't enough time. Yeah, evil surrounds itself with evil. Go figure. I wonder what Obama did with his cook. I wonder what happened to his cook. They said his cook drowned in 8 foot of water. That's kind of hard with a kayak that floats. That's kind of weird, folks. That's a whole nother story, but I think about as much about Barack Obama as I do Biden and the Clintons. Don't trust them even a little bit. No telling they'll probably do whatever is necessary to fix the situation. And I just believe that. And I believe that goes for a lot of these funded organizations that they're a part of or help set up that are fleecing our country. Here's a prime example of that. The EPA funneling $2 billion to a single NGO with political ties is exactly what kind of bureaucrats drifted that robs the taxpayers. Under the previous administration, agencies treated taxpayer funds like a slush fund to pet projects. $20 billion to 8 NGOs, reeks of insider dealing, not public service. This is the slush fund that Stacey Abrams got $2 billion of, and there was $20 billion passed out at the last minute before Joe stepped out the door. Called it for climate stuff. Stacey Abrams was supposed to buy a bunch of appliances with it. They bought less than 200 appliances, and so where did the money go? It says real environmental progress requires transparency, not backroom deals that enrich connected groups. Every dollar wasted on cronyism is a dollar stolen from the infrastructure, border security, and tax relief. The swamp is still draining, and there is no doubt about that, folks. Let's listen to Trump, what he had to say about it. And Stacey Abrams is going down behind this shit right here, folks. Going down.
The EPA has now canceled over $22 billion worth of contracts. $2 billion going to this NGO that Stacey Abrams was tied to. They received only $100 in 2023. And then the Biden administration gave them $2 billion. The director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund saw his former employer get $5 billion. So $20 billion went to just 8 NGOs, and they're all pass-throughs. And then they were giving it to other entities, many of them were pass-throughs. And what you have is all these extra middlemen, they're taking their cut. And the taxpayer ends up getting screwed. They're losing out on all this hard-earned money. They can't afford to have the federal government waste. The partnership with Doge and Elon Musk has been incredible at EPA. Their team is very talented. We wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And of course, this mandate from President Trump to make sure that we identify every last penny, whether we're saving $50,000, $5 million, or $22 billion. We will not, Mr. President, for the opportunity to do this for the American public.
Alrighty, folks, I got several more clips here for you, about 2 or 3 more. Let me see if I can get this right size on the page. Shrink him down. This is the great Mike Benz. If you don't know who Mike Benz is, you probably don't listen to my channel too often. He is one of the behind-the-scenes guys doing God's work when it comes to government affairs, trying to do the right thing, expose the corruption, trying to help this conservative movement. There's guys like Mike Davis and Mike Benz and Stephen Miller, some of the behind-the-scenes guys that really are making a huge, Andrew Bailey from Missouri, people that are doing huge things to try to right our country, including a lot of these great podcasters out there. But if you don't know who Mike Benz is, and you never if you don't know, he's the one that exposes USAID stuff years ago. So he knows more about USAID than probably most people on the planet, probably 99% of the people on the planet. And when I heard about all this USAID stuff in the past, and then it come up here a month or so ago when Doge hit it with a wrecking ball, he started doing all the circuit with all the different networks were having him on. A lot of the podcasters were having him on for interviews, and I eat it up because I think the guy's brilliant. But you're always welcome to go find these full clips of these videos that I'm watching. I try to at least tell you where I get my source from. A lot of my stuff comes from Gateway Pundit, a lot of it from X, a little bit of it from Truth. But this particular video is a YouTube video, Joe Rogan Experience with Mike Benz. If you want to catch the full video, but he is exposing Obama for trying to do regime change in other countries during his presidency. They done it with the CIA and the NGOs and the USAID. They all work hand in hand, folks. That's the real deal.
This was a scandal during the Obama USAID era. Now, we were running a number of rogue USAID operations in Cuba at the time. By the way, I have to say for the record, I'm no fan of the Cuban government. I'm not even weighing in on whether it's the right or wrong thing to do, in terms of regime change there or, liberating people there from autocratic excess by that government. I'm simply showing the American people where your tax dollars are going and how these things are structured in order to systematically fool you and to fool Congress and to fool the White House. So, for example, and I'll show a couple other things in a second here. So this is Zunzaneo. So if you just scroll for a second, we'll start with this, right? So it was an online social media. Just scroll up 1 second. We'll start at the top here. It was an online social networking microblogging service created by USAID and marketed to Cuban users. This was a Twitter knockoff. See, the background of this is 2009, 2014, that period. The State Department and USAID were gangbusters gung-ho on the promise of Arab Spring style social media revolutions to topple other governments. The Arab Spring was a Facebook revolution and a Twitter revolution. USAID pumped $1.2 billion in, and we sponsored these activist groups and these civil society organizations to learn how to use Facebook, learn how to use Twitter, learn how to use hashtags, learn how to coordinate street protests so that everyone knows where to go, what street to show up on, what kind of slogans to use.
So, do you think it's a coincidence that we now have Black Lives Matter activists, we now have Antifa activists, we now have Trantifa? If you don't know what that is, that's the transgender violent crowd that somehow has taken a foothold in some of the craziest places on earth, including some of our big cities. Um, this is not just a few people that are getting together with blue hair that decide they want to unite against the government. Maybe a percentage of them is that easily impressionable idiots that are really lost or brainwashed. I would say a percentage is that, but not a big percentage. I would say 90% of the protests that we've seen uh, are paid actors, whether it be ballot harvesting for elections or burning down cities for intimidation or just purposes of trying to make somebody look bad with all the disruption. There's a lot of reasons to cause a riot, and not necessarily the ones that the riots are about. And we know that just from experience being conservatives. But there's a huge access to the tool of paying people to be human adjutants. And if you can get 500 people to show up and wear the same T-shirt and all have the same billy club and all chant the same thing, you got to know, and they all leave at noon. You got to know that this is an organized criminal outfit, otherwise known as a non-governmental organization that is paid to government entities. But enough about that, folks. Uh, this really gets deep, and this is just a 6 or 7 minute clip of it. I'll play you another minute or so. But you're welcome to go find the whole thing. I can listen. I can listen to the whole 3 hour and 30 minute clip. Matter of fact, I did.
In order to create the pro-democracy, predicate for it. But the problem was at the time Cuba did not allow U.S. social media in. So they said, so they're not allowing Twitter in. How can we get a Twitter there, but without calling it Twitter, without making it look like it's coming from the U.S.? So what they did is they took the exact same thing as Twitter, same user interface, same like and retweet button, Zunzanillo is the Cuban slang word for hummingbird. So it means it's bird. It was the Twitter bird. The whole thing. But the whole trick
Damn.
about it was you have to make it look like it's coming from the Cubans if you're going to do this operation. So what you'll see is it began running. So this is 2010. This is right during the Arab Spring. And what you'll see is they took funds, millions of dollars of funds that were concealed as humanitarian funds designated for Pakistan. Now, I don't know if
Uh-huh.
Joe or the audience, if you've looked at a map lately, but Pakistan is not
so
exactly the
close.
next door neighbor of Cuba, right? So, and this is the Wikipedia whitewashing, and we can get into the deeper layers of this, but contractors funded by USAID, I should note the main contractor was Creative Associates International, who's a frequent one. It's CAI, not CIA, I promise. So they concealed in the budget from Senate, from Congress, from the White House National Security Council. They said that these were humanitarian funds for Pakistan. And then they ran that to their contractor, CAI.
So they didn't have government permission to spend the money. Not from any branch, not from any congressional oversight committee, any accountability project, no presidential executive order. Just decided they had a smart computer, like Elon was talking about, and they just wrote the check, knowing that the Treasury wouldn't let it bounce.
To, quote, set up a Byzantine system of front companies using Cayman Islands bank accounts and recruiting unsuspecting business executives who would not be told of the company's ties to the U.S. government, according to the AP. The private companies like Creative Associates International designed the network. The idea arose after they were given 500,000 stolen Cuban cell phones that were available on the black market. And then what you'll see if you scroll down is, okay.
And how they got the people activated enough to get on social media and become users of this particular Twitter-like website is they flooded the market with 500,000 black market phones, meaning they were dirt cheap to anybody that wanted one. Everybody ended up with one. Easy access. Give everybody a phone, they're going to play on it.
The network, dubbed the Cuban Twitter, reached about 60,000 Cuban subscribers. The initiative appears to also have had a surveillance dimension, allowing a, quote, vast database of Cuban Zunzanillo subscribers, including gender, age, and receptiveness and political tendencies to be built, with the Associated Press noting such data could be used in the future for political purposes. By the way,
What he's saying here is they are taking every single thing that flags, whether you got your rainbow emojis or you're promoting this political affiliation or this one or what's your search engine, what you're always looking for in your search bar. Just like the algorithm caters to what you like and what you tend to view, they know this, and because they see that as well, they literally put you in categories with algorithms. So that way, if they want to target the gays in an area for one reason or another, maybe make them to encourage them to be political activists, they're easier to find because they're already in a category. They've already been labeled and shelved, in so many words.
these are all quotes from the internal documents, and we can go through that. The data would then be used for micro-targeting efforts towards anti and pro-government users in Cuba. The developers aimed to, at first, use non-controversial content, such as sports and music, and hurricane updates, by the way. They used hurricane updates in the internal things. Basically a humanitarian front that if you sign up to this app, you'll know about natural disasters in the area. Meanwhile, what was the plan the whole time? Once they built up enough subscribers, they would begin to introduce political messages through social bots and encourage dissent in this astroturfing. There's a great Guardian write up on this. If you go to Guardian Zunzanillo, so you can see how crazy. Just type in Zunzanillo Smart Mob Guardian. You'll see the internal files explicitly said we're going to lure them in with music, sports, and hurricane updates. You have to join. Twitter in Cuba if you want, to be relevant in the culture and see what's trending in sports and music. If you want to be safe in your homes, if you want to know where hurricanes are going, Twitter, Cuban Twitter is the fastest place to get this. It's humanitarian work for we're saving lives by doing this.
Or they were pumping it hard.
But the whole point is, once they hit a critical mass, they would create rental riots, and they would use this the same way.
Did you hear what he said? Once they hit critical mass, once they got enough people involved and interacting, they would create rent riots, which is something that Obama learned from being a socialist. Uh, you can literally hire people to come in and be the next agitator crowd for whatever you want to protest, whatever you want to stop, whatever you want to make controversial enough as distraction or newsworthy.
Way they used it in Egypt and Tunisia to topple those governments under the Obama administration. They would organize smart mobs, rental riots, and if you scroll down, there's some this is a fantastic article, highly recommend. There's a lot more there, but okay, stop right there. Oh, scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit. Okay. Documents show the U.S. government planned to build a subscriber base through non-controversial news content, news messages on soccer, music, and hurricane updates. This is in The Guardian. Later, when the network reached a critical mass, perhaps hundreds of thousands, operators would introduce political content aimed at inspiring Cubans to organize, quote, smart mobs, mass gatherings called at a moment's notice that might trigger a Cuban spring, or as one USA document put it, quote, renegotiate the balance of power between state and society. And so one more thing, if you want to look up on this, to see how they conceal it. If you just type in USA Zunzaneo and discreet,
They are manufacturing flash mob violence with an incentive. They're paying these people to show up and act a fool. It's the craziest thing I ever heard, folks. Like I said, the full video is on Tucker Carlson Network, Joe Rogan Experience. If you want to check it out. Got a couple more things I want to bring to y'all. Actually, just one more thing, and then we'll have something to smile about on the way out. Now, speaking about Stacey Abrams, which I brought up to y'all a little bit earlier, Lee Zeldin, who is confirmed as the Secretary of the EPA now, has canceled $22 million contract that Stacey Abrams got $1.9 billion from, almost $2 billion from. And it was a NGO nonprofit linked to Stacey Abrams and several others. It was Biden's way of trying to give away some of that Green New Deal money at the last minute, considering they hadn't wrote enough checks yet to deplete the trillions of dollars in those packages. Says EPA Chief Lee Zeldin confirmed that he was canceling over $22 billion worth of contracts, including the $2 billion that Stacey Abrams nonprofit was linked to. Now, what does Trump have to say about it? I think we already listened to this. Maybe so.
EPA has now canceled over $22 billion worth of contracts. $2 billion going to this NGO that Stacey Abrams was tied to. They received only $100 in 2023.
We heard this already, folks. What am I doing? I'm trying to put you through it twice. My statement on the latest court ruling on the Biden EPA gold bar scheme from Lee Zeldin. While the Biden EPA touted tossing gold bars off the Titanic, these terminated grants, riddled with self-dealing and wasteful spending, are now frozen by court order. Good. Claw that money back. Stop them payments. Put Stacey Abrams' ass in jail just for trying to steal money. You know, she kept some of it. You know damn well she bought her some new appliances at the least. Now this guy here, 3D printed Ford parts. This guy's a YouTuber, Instagrammer. A TikToker and an Instagrammer. But he tends to get a lot of people that repost his stuff over here to X, and he's got his own X channel as well. But this guy speaks it like it is, and we'll just end with this note from coolest dude on the internet right here. He tells it like it is. That's what I like about him best. He tells it like it is. He didn't care if it hair lifts the president. All right, let me back this up.
So Doge found another corrupt government agency, this one called FMCS, Federal Mediation and Conciliation Services. And as hard as I've looked, I can find no legitimate reason for their existence. Trump completely wiped them out with an executive order, axed them all. What they said they were doing, one dude spent $18,000 on jewelry, 60 employees in an entire building, a lot of them with their own private bathrooms. Like, this is just no tally as to what their total is on expenditure, and it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, this is just fucking wild, people. And Elon was out there talking about how he has found 14 what he is calling magic money computers that were sending out payments with no, like, delineation of who the payments were going to or where even the money was coming from. He says he found 10 at the Treasury, 1 at the State Department, 2 at DOD, and 1, where was the last one? I don't know. But there's 14 of them. And he says they were just sending out payments, just willy-nilly wherever. And they've been shut off. They've been turned off. The other thing that he found was PAM, the Payments Account Management System for the entire government, right? And this is, he's saying billions of dollars a day were getting sent out of that. And how those fields work, you know, like filling out fields in some kind of form. They had places where they were supposed to write in what the fucking payment was going out for, and it would pay out without those filled in. And he said that is happening no more. Now you have to fill in all the fields of what it's getting paid for, who it's getting paid to, and all that shit. So here's the big takeaway. It's not just the money saved, but it's what is going to be the impact of this. What is going to be changed now that all this fucking evil money is not going out to fund evil shit? Because if it was on the up and up, they would say what they were spending this money on. So now you've got billions of dollars that used to get paid out for evil fucking corrupt shit that's no longer getting paid out. What evil corrupt shit is going to come to an end? Nobody even knows because they don't know where the money was going. They're just gonna they've turned off the tap, and now you're gonna see what dries up.
That's right.
I mean, the most obvious is the protests, right? Because they've already dwindled. They're only like, 10, 50, fucking maybe 70 people. And they have all homemade signs instead of their, mass-produced fucking well-done signs. And it's just a bunch of the oblongs all fucking protesting. Dude, we are going to see a new world, and we have not seen yet the fruits of these labors. Because we don't know what evil shit was being funded by that money. This is a revolution, people.
That's right.
And in 6 months to a year, this is not going to be the same world. What was probably getting funded by that? Terrorism, and all kinds of other evil shit. Because that's the only reason you hide this amount of money. It's billions of dollars, not millions, billions. Social Security is now fucking solvent again. Everybody's gonna have Social Security because there was more fraud going out than regular fucking payments. People, this is it. This is the upswing, and we have not yet seen the greatness that will come from it. Prepare yourselves. It's a new world. Do not get caught up in the bullshit of the mainstream media and anybody else's pessimism. We are in a new world. These are great things. Good luck to you all, and long live this beautiful republic. So another corrupt government agency.
Like he says, folks, long live the republic. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. I really enjoy that guy's commentary. He is on it. Thought about doing some videos that style myself where I just rant and rave endlessly about the things that are spinning in my head. I usually do a little bit of a kind of a set pattern of sticking with the topics at hand. But I think about doing these type videos as well because there's a lot of times I just want to rant. Maybe I'll get over on my TikTok channel and do a little ranting over there and see how it goes and see how that works. But I feel this guy. I know exactly what he's saying. He's right, 100%. And I'm glad somebody says it out loud in such a way that we all just want to hear it again or share it and repost it. Like, subscribe, and share to Devoted Patriots. Hopefully everybody's having a great Monday afternoon. Over and out.